Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Tahir Dhindsa and you're watching SDTV. Recently in Shanghai conference, it very clearly seems that a new pole is there and it is visible and it's emphasizing itself in a peaceful manner, but definitely as a counterweight to the West. There were three initiatives already given by President Xi. One was Global Development Initiative to protect the global development, which was a win-win. You need a global security initiative. And then there was a global civilizational initiative. Now there is a global governance initiative. What does it mean? It means that globally, wherever the China is engaged or there's a cooperation, in those countries there should be good governance. That is some sort of a rule-based international parallel system unofficially, without saying it, because the Bretton Woods and the UN was a rule-based system, it was governance and all that. So clearly it seems that when China and Soviet Union were and US was united by Henry Kissinger and the Nixon negotiations through Pakistan, the Soviet Union was isolated. Now it seems that the China and Russia are united in a front, not declaring like this, but it seems that now it's a clearly bipolar world. And the message was given again by the trade ministers. They have clearly emphasized that there should be rule-based system, most favored nation principle should be adopted, least developed countries should be given support, and WTO principles should be adhered with. They should not be undermined. So the global system, which they say without naming, they say some countries are undermining, should be restored and given a chance. What does it mean? We have today with us Dr. Manzoor Ahmad, who specializes in trade, tariff, and these sort of things. We have invited him and we are going to ask him to decipher the myth in it or what connotation it has. Doctor, very warm welcome. Please say something on that.
Well, thank you very much. I think this is a very unique moment in history, it's a moment like what happened just before the Second World War was ending, 1943-4, when these victorious powers were already seeing their victory, and led by US and UK and France, and they were they were holding these meetings and making these rules for new organization, Bretton Woods organization, for the World Bank, for IMF, for GATT, etc. They were making. So this is a similar moment here. So you can see from 1943, almost 80 years or whatever, so it's a new world order is now emerging, as you have been saying without really saying so, but that's what is happening in front of our eyes.
So do you think it should have new connotations? Because all the countries, there was prominent countries that represent global South. India was there as well in a big way. So the global South, do you think the global South has taken over or it is taking over?
Well, it's not that the whole global South, but some countries are much ahead in this, like China, being the front runner in everything, almost now running in many things neck and neck, and many things far ahead of US. In new technology, like solar technology, like electric vehicles, like all these things, it's far ahead. And in many other things, it's not too far behind. And for something like those critical minerals, electric batteries, etc., there's no competition. In fact, they're just far ahead.
Even in manufacturing?
Manufacturing is the first thing they took over. Manufacturing they took over a while ago. But they kept a little bit low-key on their defense side. But with the recent, you have seen this Pakistan India and how they saw the Chinese
Technology winning
technology
over.
winning over. So the word, the first time, because they didn't have any Chinese in the recent past, whatever hundreds of years, we didn't see them fighting. So this was the first time what they're manufacturing is being experimented. Or, it was in action, I should say. And the world realized that, although it was just a few hours fight, but complete domination.
Just to support you, quickly I quote, and I was interviewing someone who is heading the group who's going to take part in the privatization of the PIA.
Yeah.
And gentleman was telling me that it's a very still profitable if you buy PIA, but upfront on the day one you need $300 million for order 100 new aircraft. But on domestic routes and budget, now the technology has been proven in war. You can use Chinese airliner as well.
Yes.
So it's a bad news for Airbus and Lockheed Martin as well. So technology is yes proven. So you agree that there is a competition and the China is on a winning streak.
Oh, yes. I mean, just last week I heard that, one of the big Boeing plants, China said, for the time being, we are no more buying. And the minute China said that, there was decision to close down that plant. And Boeing is the world's biggest, in aircraft, etc. So China really matters everywhere.
Everywhere. What connotation it's going to have on trade and tariffs?
Well, previously for almost last 100 years, trade was, US was number one and EU number two, and so it was between Japan number three, and it was all between the West. It's only in the last 30 years that others started coming in. But it's only, I think China joined the WTO in 2001. I mean, it was not even a part of it. It had no rules, nothing. But since then, but in the last 20 years, since the financial crisis, Europeans and others went down, and China and its allies came up.
You're saying the sub-mortgage one?
Yes, the sub-mortgage one, that financial crisis, but many of their banks and other things went bankrupt, and
Lehman Brothers and
Lehman Brothers
Freddie Mac, Fannie
others,
Mae, and
yes, and others were saved by the governments. I mean, they pumped in a lot
and
of
by
money
the
there.
Chinese
Yes.
currency swaps,
Yes,
which Hillary Clinton and
Yes.
especially gone to the China to request.
yes.
They invested in Federal Reserve.
So what it was, in fact, that U.S. was kind of the brain behind these, like World Trade Organization. Okay, big voice there. Everything U.S. mattered, and now they are talking about minus U.S. Making this
Framing rules.
but minus U.S. So because U.S. has now maybe their total trade percentage maybe 13%, 12%, and they say, well, 87% outside the U.S. So let's do it like that. That is what these various
Statements mean.
Statements being made there.
Do you think that because of all that, and especially after the Shanghai conference, the Trump's tariff will have little impact on reversing the trade balance?
Well, tariffs would have never reversed they wouldn't have succeeded in that, because last time Trump tried during his first term, and the impact was completely the opposite. I mean, at the time, U.S. had trade deficit of 400 billion, and when those tariffs were applied, and now this time he came, it was 1 trillion. So that was not going to happen. But what's going to happen is that previously countries were all linking with the US because this was the world's biggest importer, etc. And now they're no more trusting that. So quickly they're trying to, even a country like India, which didn't really trust China in terms of trade, even otherwise didn't trust, but now running there and they're trying to become, because India was a major gainer from the U.S. side, because
and so was the China side.
Yes, but now they want to, because on Chinese side they were losing because they had lot of trade deficit with China, because if the bilateral trade was 120 billion, so India's exports of maybe 30 billion, 90 billion were from China. But now they're trying to find, they were for their exports, they're looking more towards US. But now I think they're, after this 50% tariff, I don't think it's any more economical to export to US.
Already it has hurt a lot. I was just with a cursory look, I was watching their currency rupee dollar parity that jumped in favor of dollar. So from 83 rupees a dollar to 90 rupees almost. 87 rupees or 90 rupees.
Oh,
it's a huge one.
It's a huge,
Especially the size of economy that India is.
Yes.
This much difference is huge.
Yes, and it's very early stage, because this is only 2 weeks ago. This other 25% came, so there was 25, and the orders cancellation has started, etc.
Yeah.
Yes, and they would know what to do in months or 2 months' time. I must say that President Trump's tariffs were declared illegal by the lower courts. International Trade Court, their international, US on. And now, even at the appeal stage, they said they are not covered under the emergency laws. And so, but this has been...
they'll be repealed, do you think?
Yes, they are going to appeal, and so this is...
No, they'll be repealed.
But first, they've given them 1 month, till middle of October, till 14th of October, to go in appeal to the Supreme Court, and if the Supreme Court, if no decision, but then the tariffs will be repealed, unless the Supreme Court rules otherwise.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen?
It's extremely difficult, because the U.S. Supreme Court, Trump has put 3 judges in that court.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a very strong case. But what he could do eventually is try to find some other rules. Maybe ask Senate, because they have a majority there, to give him some special powers or something. Try to find some rules, because he's saying that
But why is doing it with India? It cannot be personal vendetta. I think it cannot be between the...
It's not just India. He's done the same thing with Brazil. He has been doing this thing with China for a while. But India became a little more personal, because India took it very easy, because once, in April, it declared some tariffs for all countries. And he said, come and negotiate. And India thought, they're too big, and so they will have a separate deal. And so they didn't really, like Pakistan, immediately took action, sent its people there, negotiated, and most other countries did that. India didn't. India took it easy. And that was the first thing. And then, things started building up, because after this, because on India, he left 25% for other countries in the region, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc., Vietnam, etc. It was 19%. So India was already upset that why we are being discriminated. And so they were issuing these statements. And I think that further worsens the whole thing.
Do you think, I was just thinking, India was the fastest growing economy until recently, before this tariff fiasco. And if you leave a country of size of India, 1.4 billion people, to grow as the fastest economy for 10 years, that would be another China. So maybe at the back of the mind of the policy planner would be something that we couldn't stop China, couldn't take action at a time. We couldn't decouple China from United States at good time, but let's do it with India.
No, I think India was taken by surprise, and Trump is very unpredictable. These were 2 things, but then lots of other things came up in the meantime, because President was taking claim that because the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, he said, I managed it, and India didn't acknowledge it. India didn't like this statement. They tried to say that he had no role. And so that, like in case of Brazil also, they took it personally, because
President Lula
was trying, the ex-president, for his uprising in that country. And he said, you should not do it. And doing it, he said, okay, another 25%. And also these big countries like India, Brazil, etc., they're part of BRICS, and they were trying to float ideas like another currency against US dollar and various such statements which he didn't like. I mean,
Yeah.
that were at the back of his mind.
So in nutshell, do you think Pakistan could get some benefit out of that?
Yes, I'm sure Pakistan is a good moment for Pakistan because Pakistan has somehow developed friendly relations with all, with the US, with China, with Russia, and everyone. The other thing is with its major competitors. Unfortunately, Pakistan's industry was not very, the exports were not very diversified. We only had textile, clothing, etc. But this is a moment for Pakistan because Pakistan has just done its reforms so that it can develop more industry, more investment can come in. Now with this 50% tariff, India was one of the biggest investment destination for, but now everyone will hold on because with 50% tariff, nobody's going to invest there. So they'll be looking for other places. And I'm sure they're finding Pakistan is now a more open country for investment. And also there was very negative perception of Pakistan, and that's changing. That's gradually changing. So I can see two things happening. One, Pakistan attracting more investments and more diversification of its exports because it has this advantage vis-a-vis its major competitor.
Right. Last, what should we do in Pakistan to put our act together, the policymaker, the government, and everyone, and on the social side all?
Yes, well, on the economic side, I think they should continue with their reforms. They should, continue opening up, but they should try to get more integrated. With the, say, for example, Asia Pacific, all these countries have formed an organization like the EU. Like NAFTA, like this is called RECP, Regional Economic Cooperation program. So Pakistan should try to become a part of it because now, for years, they didn't consider Pakistan's economy or Pakistan because all other countries, from Australia to New Zealand to all ASEAN and 16 countries, the biggest trading bloc. But now they have said that at their next summit, they will consider Pakistan being a dialogue partner. That's the way to move. So we should try to get into this. This is the real growth area. Yes.
One more question. These all countries grew on productivity, as the president Deng Xiaoping said, that improve your productivity and export it.
Yeah.
Do you think still this is a viable channel?
Yes, yeah. Productivity is always, when you say put 100% tariff on this glass or something, that means you are 100% less efficient. But if you bring it down, that means you can get new machinery, so you can be more productive. And productivity is the most important thing, yes.
Important.
Yes.
What do you see in coming days on the trade front?
On the trade front, I see positive things. There will be temporarily some deficit because more machinery will be coming, more capital goods will be coming, but it will, it's just a matter of months before they start producing and exporting.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
So obviously, in worst of the time, one of the worst of when the hazard is converted into a disaster, floods, and obviously people are disgruntled also on other things as well. This is one good news. If it happens, I think it would affect other things domestically and on the foreign front as well. So with this, we come to the end of the program. Bye for now.